After a dominant win at Spa, Max Verstappen is looking like a guarantee to be the two-time Formula One champion. This is terrible news, however, for his title rival Charles Leclerc, who sits 100 points behind Max Verstappen and is basically lost the championship with only 8 races left. We got to see some fireworks, of course, also in today's race as two old teammates collide, and we may be seeing a potential F1 star enter from IndyCar. Let's get right into it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Formula One Digest. I'm your host, Tyson De Silva, and today I'm reacting to the Belgian Grand Prix, and what a race, folks. Racing is definitely back, and it has started with a Max Verstappen weekend of dominance. Max Verstappen not only got the race win, but got pole. Of course, he had to go to the back half of the grid due to an engine penalty, but ended up getting a P1 finish, pole, the fastest lap of the race, and driver of the day. It was a Max Verstappen weekend. He took it to the max and is looking like a dominant force out there. This extends his championship lead to nearly almost 100 points over Charles Leclerc, who is his title rival, and he is just about 90 points ahead of Sergio Perez, who moves up into second place after a P2 finish. And this is terrible news if you're Charles Leclerc, because you're essentially out of the championship, and it's very frustrating to see how things have gone down with Charles, because at the start of the year, we all thought we were going to be seeing two teams on equal fields fighting it out. And while the cars have been able to keep the racing fun and exciting, it has been the Ferrari team itself that has really let Charles down when he's needed their help in the most important moments of the race. One of the most recent examples of this was, of course, in Hungary a few weeks ago, where he was put on the hard tire while all the other top drivers went onto the medium, and he really struggled on them, which resulted in a terrible finish and a terrible way to go into the summer break. And this didn't really seem to change over the summer break, as once again Charles Leclerc was put on some questionable strategies. It wasn't as bad as putting him on the hard tire this time, but you can tell that there were some errors in judgment. One, of course, was when they asked him to come on in for the to be put on the soft tire to get the fastest lap of the race point. And despite Charles saying that he does not think it is worth it or it's worth risking it, he was insisted to come in. He didn't get the point, and to add salt into the Ferrari wound, he got a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, which resulted in Fernando Alonso moving from P6 to P5. If you're Charles Leclerc, you're very frustrated with your team and how this season has gone, because at the start of the year, it looked like he couldn't be stopped. And looking at where they are now, it's questionable as to where he stands with Ferrari, because even they seem to be like on thin ice with him, as they were asking him questions about what he would prefer during the race over the radio. So there's definitely going to be a lot of fallout if this ends up being a season wasted, because this was a car that could definitely win the championship, and Ferrari themselves have kind of squandered that. Something to also look out for is a brand new, or I wouldn't say brand new, but a reignited rivalry between Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso, two former teammates who collided in the first lap of the race, which resulted in Hamilton going airborne. And thankfully he was okay. It wasn't that terrible of a crash, but he did end up having to retire the car and was absolutely defeated after the race. And you have to feel bad for the guy, especially after I read that he was up late with his team trying to find a strategy that could potentially help them win, and he didn't even see the second lap. This also led to a rather iconic and funny quote from Fernando Alonso, who basically said that Hamilton only knows how to drive and start when he's in first place. This, of course, is a dig at Lewis because he's been such a dominant driver over the last number of years, and he's not really used to driving in the midfield and getting into battles with guys all over the place. And now that he's in a car that can't keep him at the front, he's had to work his way up there for potential wins and podiums. So that was a very interesting dig to Lewis. Lewis, of course, responded by saying it does show what he thinks of me, and Fernando was trying to dismiss what he said, saying it was in the heat of the moment and that he didn't mean it. This could translate into a number of things, but I would highly encourage everyone to watch how they interact on track in the next couple of races. We have Zandvoort next week, and we could be seeing some fireworks once again. They've obviously had great battles in the past, and this new event could maybe reignite the rivalry. Now, some of the biggest news that has come out since the race, which doesn't even have to do with the race, is that Pierre Gasly may be released by AlphaTauri and could be poached by Alpine or signed by Alpine if Alpine is still interested in him. But you may be asking yourself, well, then who is going to be taking Pierre Gasly's spot? And in an article by Adam Cooper of Autosport.com, it looks as though Helmut Marko has his eyes on Colton Herta. And for those of you who don't know who Colton Herta is, he is an American racing driver who is competing in IndyCar right now for Andretti Autosport and is one of the youngest drivers to ever win an IndyCar Series race. This, of course, for those of you who also may not know, he's also been linked to potentially driving with McLaren. It's going to be really interesting to see if they're able to sign this guy, because he is supposed to be a potential star in F1. He shows a lot of potential, and of course, Red Bull is a team that takes pride on taking younger drivers and turning them into superstars. We saw it with Sebastian Vettel. We've seen it with Max Verstappen. At 22 years old, Colton Herta is a little older than some of the usual picks, but he is talented nonetheless. And we could be seeing a scenario where he ends up joining AlphaTauri. Of course, this isn't set in stone. It has also been indicated that Helmut Marko is considering Mick Schumacher, who may not want to re-sign with Haas and is looking for a bigger role. I think that what they're targeting, though, is younger drivers who will be able to drive next to Max Verstappen once Sergio Perez's contract is up in right now 3 years' time, because he just signed a 2-year extension. So it's going to be really interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens there. You may ask, what does this mean for Pierre Gasly? They could just release Pierre or buy him out. It just depends what's available for Pierre. Of course, Pierre is a very highly touted driver as well. He's still young at 26, 27, but he's going to be looking to go to a team where he can be one of their number one drivers and not drive for a junior team. Alpine has already indicated that they have an interest in Gasly. They still have an open seat. So it's definitely going to be worth following this very interesting scenario. So it's definitely going to be worth following the storylines, as we could potentially be seeing a lot of drama down the road with Pierre Gasly and whoever replaces him at AlphaTauri. Until then, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We appreciate all the support, and we will see you guys in the next video.